Okay, let's unpack this. The world of AI and IT is moving at, well, light speed, right? It feels almost impossible to keep up sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
what if you had a shortcut, maybe a deep dive, into the most pivotal moments, stuff that helps you not just, keep pace, but really understand what's driving the future?
Yeah, that's exactly our mission today.
We're looking at one specific day, July 15th, 2025. It wasn't just another Tuesday with tech news.
No, not at all. You could argue it marked the real dawn of the era of execution for AI.
Yeah.
We're moving past the hype, the abstract
But
promises.
getting into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. The hard realities. Infrastructure, military strategy, hard-nosed economic competition. So today, we've distilled the top 10 news items from that day.
Okay.
And looking at them, you see four core kind of tectonic shifts emerging. There's the race to superintelligence really heating up.
Right.
Then there's the rise of what we call agentic AI that does things. Then hardware. Hardware is becoming the ultimate bottleneck, but also the key catalyst.
Interesting dichotomy.
Yeah.
And the fourth.
A really fascinating geopolitical split, a divergence between open versus closed AI ecosystems, especially US versus China.
All right, a lot to cover. Let's start with that first shift, the race of superintelligence. What's this about Meta dropping, what was it, hundreds of billions?
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg basically declared an industrial war.
Yeah.
Meta pledged hundreds of billions towards building artificial superintelligence, ASI.
Hundreds of billions. That's hard to even picture.
It is. They're funding massive supercomputers, codenamed Prometheus and Hyperion. And get this, each one is projected to consume gigawatts of power.
Gigawatts, like a whole city's worth.
Pretty much. Think of a significant chunk of, say, Manhattan's power grid just for one AI project. It's a huge, bold pivot for Meta.
Wow.
And it just shows the tangible, colossal scale of this new AI arms race. And crucially, the massive energy implications that come with it. It's not science fiction anymore.
No kidding. Okay, so that's the raw power side. But you mentioned AI that does things. That brings us to the Pentagon and agentic AI. What's the deal there?
All right, so the U.S. Department of Defense, the DoD, is investing heavily, about $800 million in initial contracts.
$800 million. Who's getting that money?
They're spreading the bets. Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, and yeah, even Elon Musk's XAI is in the mix.
Huh. And it's specifically for agentic AI workflows. What does that mean in practice?
It means AI that goes beyond just generating text or images. We're talking about systems that can autonomously plan, strategize, and then act on those plans.
Act in the real world or in digital systems.
Both, potentially. And that immediately brings back the whole critical debate around meaningful human control, especially in military contexts.
Right. Automated warfare, it's pushing ethical boundaries hard.
Extremely hard.
Hmm.
How much autonomy do you give a system, especially one involved in defense? It's a massive question these contracts are forcing us to confront.
It really feels like the people building these systems are becoming as valuable as the tech itself, which I guess leads us to Google's huge talent grab, a $2.4 billion acqui-hire.
Yeah, this one's fascinating. Google spent $2.4 billion not to buy a company called Windsurf.
But to hire its people.
Exactly.
Huh.
Specifically, its top AI coding talent, including the CEO. They swooped in after OpenAI's own $3 billion deal to buy Windsurf apparently fell apart. Rumor is internal friction with Microsoft scuppered the OpenAI deal.
So Google just snapped up the talent instead.
Pretty much. It's being called a reverse acqui-hire.
Yeah.
It really redefines the talent war in AI. It's incredibly aggressive.
What happens to Windsurf, the company?
Well, that's the thing. It creates these, some are calling them startup zombies. The shell is there, but the core value, the talent, is gone.
And I bet regulators are looking at this too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It raises serious antitrust questions about concentrating talent and, potentially stifling competition by just buying up the best minds.
Okay, so the competition is fierce for talent in tech. Let's shift focus a bit, geopolitically. China. We heard about an AI model called Kimi K2. What's the story there?
All right, Kimi K2. This comes from a Chinese company called Moonshot AI. It's a huge model, 1 trillion parameters, they say.
1 trillion, so comparable to the big Western models.
In scale, yes. But here's the kicker. It's an open weight model. They released significant details about its architecture and weights.
Open weight, that's different from, say, OpenAI's models.
Very different. And crucially, benchmarks are showing Kimi K2 outperforming GPT 4.1, especially on coding tasks. And it's supposedly radically cheaper to run.
Wow. Better, cheaper, and open. That sounds like a triple threat.
It is. And you have to see it as more than just a technical achievement. It's likely a strategic geopolitical move by China.
How so?
By releasing a powerful model as open weight, they can gain global influence, build an ecosystem around it, and potentially get around restrictions, like U.S. export controls on advanced chips. It's using openness as a strategic lever.
A really interesting contrast to the more closed approach we often see. Okay, so we're building these incredibly powerful, complex systems, but what about vulnerabilities? Tell us about GPU hammer.
Yeah, yes. GPU hammer. This is a really concerning one, focusing on the hardware level. Researchers demonstrated an attack, basically a variation of the older row hammer attacks.
Row hammer, that affects RAM, right? Flipping bits.
Exactly. But GPU hammer targets the memory on NVIDIA GPUs, the workhorses of AI training and inference. It physically manipulates the memory cells.
Physically? How?
By rapidly accessing adjacent memory rows, you can cause electrical interference that flips a bit. A 0 becomes a 1, or vice versa in a nearby row, without detection.
And what does one bit flip do to an AI model?
That's the scary part. They showed that a single targeted bit flip could drop a model's accuracy from, say, 80% down to practically 0, 0.1% in their example.
Oh, so you could subtly sabotage an AI without anyone knowing.
Precisely. It shifts the focus of AI security down to the bare metal, the hardware itself. It exposes huge vulnerabilities, especially in shared cloud environments where different users' processes run on the same physical hardware.
That feels like a ticking time bomb. But could new hardware also be the solution to some problems, like AI's insane energy use? What's this super transistor?
Right, there's a potential positive development here too. A European company, TerraQuantum, unveiled what they're calling a super transistor. Technically, it's a negative capacitance field effect transistor, or NCFRT.
Okay, NCFT, what's the promise?
The promise is huge. They claim it could be up to 40 times faster than current transistors and consume 20 times less energy.
40 times faster and 20 times less energy. That sounds revolutionary.
It would be, absolutely.
Yeah.
If those numbers hold up and it can be manufactured at scale, it could completely rewrite the global AI energy roadmap. It could make really powerful AI actually sustainable.
That would be a massive game changer for everything we've discussed, especially those gigawatt-hungry supercomputers.
Exactly. But the big if is always large-scale, cost-effective manufacturing. That's the ultimate test for any new chip technology.
True. Okay, from fundamental hardware to advertising. How is Google using AI to, as the headline put it, predict desire? Sounds a bit dystopian.
Yeah, the phrasing is provocative.
Yeah.
Google launched a whole new suite of AI-powered advertising tools. One is called Asset Studio, which automatically generates ad creatives, images, videos, text variations.
Okay, automating the creative process.
But it goes further. They're introducing agentic capabilities here, too. AI agents that can manage entire campaigns, adjust bidding strategies, reallocate budgets, all autonomously based on predicted outcomes.
So the AI isn't just making the ad, it's running the whole show.
Pretty much. The big shift is from reactive advertising. You search for something, you see an ad, to predictive marketing. The AI tries to figure out what you might want or need, maybe before you even consciously realize it, and targets you accordingly.
That forces ad agencies to completely rethink their role, doesn't it, if the AI does the execution?
Absolutely. Their value has to shift towards higher level strategy, understanding the brand, the nuances the AI might miss. And like you said, it definitely raises new ethical questions about transparency, manipulation, how persuasive these AI-driven campaigns can become.
It's a fine line. Okay, let's move from industry to science. A self-driving lab, discovering materials 10 times faster.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's from the Argonne National Laboratory, a system called Polybot.
Polybot.
It combines AI with robotics in a closed loop. The AI designs experiments to find new materials with specific properties, in this case, conductive polymers. Then the robots actually perform the experiments, synthesize the materials, test them.
And feed the results back to the AI.
Exactly. The AI analyzes the results and plans the next set of experiments. It's an autonomous cycle of hypothesizing, experimenting, and learning.
And it's really 10 times faster.
That's what they're reporting for discovering and optimizing these polymers compared to traditional human-led lab work. It's a huge acceleration.
What's the bigger implication here?
It's a paradigm shift, really. It turns scientific research itself into a kind of data-driven, programmable process. Imagine applying this to drug discovery, new battery technologies, materials for carbon capture. The possibilities are immense.
Truly accelerating discovery. But it's not all smooth sailing in the AI world, is it? What happened with OpenAI pulling GPT 4.5 preview? Sounds like they upset some people.
Oh, they definitely did. OpenAI had this model, GPT 4.5 Preview, available via their API, and developers really liked it. Many felt it was significantly better, maybe smarter or more capable than the other available options like GPT 4.0.
Better, but they pulled it. Why?
Well, OpenAI didn't give a super explicit reason, but the strong suspicion, almost a consensus among developers, is that it was just too expensive to run. The operational costs, the compute needed for inference, were likely very high.
So performance versus economics.
Exactly. It highlights this constant tension. You can build these incredibly powerful models, but can you run them affordably at scale? Pulling the plug like that, even on a preview model, also shook confidence.
How so?
Businesses and developers were building applications relying on that specific model's capabilities. When it suddenly disappears, it breaks things and forces costly re-engineering. It raises questions about platform reliability when you're building on someone else's cutting-edge, potentially volatile AI.
Yeah, that dependency is a real risk. Okay, last item on our list, and it sounds urgent. Citrix Bleed 2.0, a cybersecurity alert.
Yes, a critical one.
Yeah?
A major vulnerability dubbed Citrix Bleed 2.0 was discovered in Citrix NetScaler products. These are widely used in enterprises for network security and access.
What does the vulnerability allow attackers to do?
It's bad. It allows attackers to bypass multi-factor authentication, MFA, and complete and hijack user sessions. Basically, get inside secure networks relatively easily.
Bypass MFA, that's supposed to be the safety net.
It is, and the alarming thing was that this vulnerability was being actively exploited in the wild almost immediately after details emerged.
If attackers were already using it.
Yes. Which is why CISA, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency,
Right.
issued an emergency directive. They gave federal agencies just 24 hours to patch their systems.
24 hours, that's unprecedentedly fast.
It really underscores the severity of the risk to enterprise networks everywhere, not just government. It also shows how quickly critical flaws are being found and weaponized now. The window to patch is shrinking dramatically.
A stark reminder of how fragile some core infrastructure can be. Wow. Okay, that was quite a tour through just one day in AI and IT.
Wasn't it? Quite intense.
We've seen, money just becoming this raw strategic weapon, like with Meta. We've seen autonomy, agentic AI as this, ultimate goal for both defense and business.
And hardware making a huge comeback, right?
Yeah.
As the key battleground, the bottleneck, the potential savior with new transistors, but also the source of deep vulnerabilities like GP humor.
Absolutely. And that fascinating geopolitical dimension, with China using open source as a strategic countermove. For you, the listener, these aren't just news headlines from the past. They really feel like blueprints for the future that's unfolding, well, right now.
Indeed. And the opportunities are genuinely immense, Powerful open models like Kimi K2 democratizing access, AI accelerating science with things like Polybot. It's exciting stuff.
Well,
But yeah, the threats are equally colossal, almost existential sometimes. The concentration of power with huge investments, the fragility exposed by hardware flaws, the geopolitical instability this tech race fuels, it all demands constant vigilance from everyone.
so what's the next big ripple in this AI tsunami going to be?
That's the big question, isn't it? And the provocative thought we want to leave you with. Because the future isn't waiting politely in some science fiction novel anymore.
No, it's right here in these bulletins unfolding at breakneck speed.